So to ganache your cake, you will need a few simple tools. You will need a palette knife. This is a cranked palette knife to easily apply your ganache at every angle. A normal palette knife for smoothing. This is a scraper by Wilton. You'll use this to remove excess ganache. I like to use non-stick matting underneath the cake. And we have a spirit level as well, and a sheet of baking parchment to protect the cake from the spirit level. This is to check that you've got a level top. So to start, you're going to hold the scraper against the side of your cake, and you're going to slowly move the turntable round, holding the scraper vertically to make sure there is even space around the cake to apply ganache. If you have any bulges that catch the scraper as you turn on this tress run, you need to be able to trim the cake first. Now my cake is slipping a little to one side because it's a warm day, but actually the shape is fine. So just test all the way around. So first you're going to apply a crumb coat. This is simply to make sure that all of the crumb is covered and adhered to the cake with a thin layer, it doesn't have to be smart, a thin layer of ganache. Start slowly on the top, pushing the ganache to the edges, making sure you don't have any air bubbles. Take your time, there's no hurry. Gently push out the ganache to the edges of the cake, and once you have an even layer on the top of the cake, you'll apply some ganache and start moving down the side. So gently start to move the ganache around the side of the cake, taking care not to change the shape of the cake, so don't apply too much pressure. Just gently with your palette knife and turning your turntable with your left hand, move the ganache around the cake in one thick layer, pushing into any gaps. So this is your crumb coat applied. It's quite thick, so I'm just going to tidy up a little. Be careful of those top edges. And then get ready to scrape away the excess from this first crumb coat. So you can tidy up this first crumb coat using your palette knife or your scraper, the choice is yours. And then once you're happy that you've got a good even coat, you're going to leave this to firm up for 10-15 minutes. So it's time to apply your second layer, or this is your first proper finishing layer of ganache. Working smoothly. It's very reassuring though at this stage to see that the first layer is set nice and firm. So it's slightly easier now. Keep working it round and then work on your side edges, filling in any gaps. You're aiming for a good even coat. Don't be alarmed if it's looking a little scruffy at this stage. Things are about to get a lot smoother. So here's your scraper. Like earlier, you're going to hold it vertically at the edge of your cake, angling towards you. Turn your turntable and smooth and pull towards you. This becomes easier the more you practice. And you'll see that you're gradually going to scrape away the excess to leave away a smoother layer. Remove excess into your bowl of ganache. We don't want to waste any. And we'll go again. Keep smoothing, be confident. Now here you can see I've picked up a little bit of unmelted ganache and it's given me a little dip, so I'm going to need to fill that in soon. But I'm going to keep going. Here I'm going to fill in those gaps. Got some around the bottom. Always check the base, there's often a little bit where it's dragged. Going in for another scrape. So here I'm pointing out where I've got little gaps, little divots, and these need to be filled back in with some more ganache. Gently push and scrape the ganache for another layer to fill in the gaps. Especially around the bottom, look, that bit needs some extra work. But you can see that the cake is already changing shape. You can repeat this process as many times as you like, and the more you do it, the more refined the finish will be. So with this layer you want to bring in your top edges just a little before scraping. And it's back to your large scraper again. Hold vertically, apply at an angle, pulling towards you, and turn the table. Smoothly scrape away the excess. This will leave you with a more polished finish. Now you're going to use your scraper to pull in the top edge and to give it a more level finish. Gently move the scraper from the outside of the cake in towards the centre and turn the turntable. This will gradually smooth the top of the cake. Take your time and remove the excess. You can see better edges starting to develop very quickly now. And then scrape the sides again. Now we're starting to get a more polished look. You should be confident now to repeat this process of applying ganache and scraping until you are happy you have the best finish. This can then be kept plain as ganache, or it will be ready for fondant and sugar paste to give you lovely sharp edges. And here we are with my finished cake, which I'm going to keep bare with just a few little details that I'm going to show you in a second. But if I wanted to cover this with sugar paste, I'd leave it to set firm and then it would be ready to cover. So here you can see this is starting to dry out, it's firmed well. So now we're going to check that actually this cake is level. I'm going to use my little spirit level that I only use for food, and I'm going to sit it on top of a piece of parchment to protect the cake. And look, it's not bad. So here I'm having a go at decorating a ganache cake really simply by adding cocoa butter paints. I've melted cocoa butter and added 3 colours, purple, yellow and gold, and they're just petal dusts, edible petal dusts and luster. Mix them together and you can apply, I've just tried a little patch test at the back of the cake, and to those I'm going to add coal pits, sugar soft, gorgeous edible pansies. These are really easy to use, I recommend always having them in your cupboard for a cake that needs to be ready in a hurry. So dark chocolate looks great with purple, gold and yellow, so let's give it a whirl and start applying brush strokes. Now be confident, just get some colour on there because you can always blend with the paintbrush, and the purple can sort of mute out the gold, but the colour comes out really well. I'm just going to blend that in a little with some purple look, and it's giving it a bit of an ombre. This is a great way to decorate a very grown-up birthday cake or a celebration cake really quickly, whilst you're still sort of showing off the gorgeous ganache finish. This is a chocolate cake, and even with decoration you can see it's a really rich chocolate cake. So just keep using your turntable to whiz some colour around. Got a nice wide brush, nice flat edge. It's really easy and really enjoyable actually. And get some yellow on there. So I've stippled a little bit of colour as well to add texture, as the cocoa butter paint is now starting to set a little at room temperature. Cocoa butter does need to be remelted, but I'm liking this sort of thicker colour. It's a better pigment. So I'm going to stipple just little bits, look. So I'm getting more gold there. I like that a lot actually. And then when I'm happy with the amount of colour I've put on, I'm going to consider the placement of my pansies. And I'm going to attach these with just a little bit more of the ganache I have left over from earlier. I think I'll just apply these in a sort of abstract pattern to go with the paint application. But the colours really pop against the dark chocolate and gold. So a little ganache on the back. I'm just using a butter knife. It's like having a little palette knife. It's one of my favourite tools. And on with the sugar soft pansies. You can get these online direct from Coalpit or from your local sugar craft shop. I'm just going to have a little spray, I think. Add a few more. The colours on these are gorgeous. You could of course make your own violets and pansies using florist paste, but with Coalpit Sugar Soft you can do this effect in a hurry. With great vibrant colour. They're actually really lovely to eat too. They're sugar soft, so they're delicate and soft to bite to eat. So great for celebration cakes. So you could keep going. I think it would look really great to have some maybe macarons in purple and gold on top. Maybe a bit of a drip effect with melted chocolate and some birthday candles. Simple.